we have Navy Legal. And you may have some legal questions or concerns. Don't be shy. We have a JAG here. Welcome aboard, and I'll give you this mic so you can do your stuff.
See if I can manage to handle this. Can anybody, oh, there we go. Is this good? I'm gonna take that polite nodding from some of you as a yes. As mentioned before, I'm Lieutenant Biolo. I'm a legal assistance attorney. There's 2 of us on the base at NASNY, and we are separate from the legal department on the ship. A lot of what I'm gonna talk about, the ship can assist you with, but we're just the dedicated force on NASNY itself, and we invite you to come on by. We're over by the crew pool. And so if we can go to the next slide real quick, I'll talk to you about what we offer. We assist with civil issues. Civil is contrasted against crime. So if you've done a crime, I'm going to shut my door to you and just call the cops. But if you have a civil issue, so if that's family law, immigration, powers of attorney, wills, anything like that, or if you just have a question about your legal rights, come on by and see us. We cannot represent you out in court. That's our big limitation. A lot of people want to get us, well, nobody wants me, but somebody wants my compatriots to represent them out in town. I can't do that. I can tell you about how great I would be, but we'll talk to you about what exactly your rights are and help you find and navigate the area. And if we can help you at a lower level, we're happy to make phone calls, we're happy to send angry letters, all those things. We just can't represent you or make any motions out in town. So next slide, please. Okay. So attorneys are by appointment only, and that's mostly to save your frustration. It's a pain to come in with a legal issue and come in at 8 a.m. and just sit there all day and see somebody at 1600. So you can give us a call at NASNY. Our number is 545-6437. That's again 545-6437. 32nd Street is also an available option. We request that you come to us because it's how I stay employed. But if you want to go to 32nd Street, their number is 556-2211. And you may have to leave a voicemail. If that happens, leave a number and your name, and we'll call you back and we'll get you locked in. But those are the 2 areas. On NASNY, we're over by the crew pool. If you're going to 32nd Street, you just make a hard right at the main entrance, and it dead ends at building 56. And again, if you get lost, call those 2 numbers and they'll guide you in. Next slide. Okay, we'll talk about some of these things more in depth. And one of the main things that people ask us about in preparation for deployments is wills or estate planning. Wills are a free service, both for you or for your dependent. They can come on in and get one drafted. There's a will visit next week for the Carl Vinson for some of you folks. If you're not on that will visit, you can make an independent appointment with us. But how do you know if you need a will? There's already rules in place if you die without a will. I don't have a will, true story. It's not just like I'm a stand-up comedian and I'm making this up now as part of my bit. I don't have a will. And why is that? Because as a California resident, the state laws are fine. In California, if you die without a will, if you have a spouse, it goes to your spouse. If you don't have a spouse but you have kids, all your stuff goes to your kids. And I don't have a spouse. There's no kids that I'm aware of. So everything is going to go to my parents. People laugh, but I wonder. But everything goes to my parents, and that's fine. I even leave my apartment a mess when I go on deployment, because it's like one more I gotcha at mom and dad. Like, ha ha ha, if I die, you have to come back, clean up all my stuff, and give it to my sisters. And that's fine. I don't have a will. So why do you need a will? If you want to give stuff to somebody under the age of 18, you need a will. You just can't give a bunch of money to an infant. They don't know what money is. You can give a bunch of money to a 14-year-old and it'll be gone by tomorrow. So the court doesn't let that happen. So if you're giving stuff to a child, anybody under the age of 18, you need a will, or you want a will. Or if you don't like the rules I just said, if you don't want everything to go to your spouse, if not your spouse, to your kids, and keep in mind, states have different rules. This is just a California example. You can just look up your state, or if you want to talk to us about it, you can. But if you don't like those rules, if you want things to go to your siblings before your parents, if you want things to go to your friends instead of your family, you need a will. Those are the reasons to get a will. Can I get the next slide? Okay, there's some other documents which are totally invisible, but as part of the will, you can also get some documents that help you if you're not dead, but you're kind of close. It's a really morbid topic. But there's this idea that, if there's an accident out in town, if you can't make decisions for you for the hospital or handle your finances, we can draft those documents for you ahead of time. It's all part of the same process, all part of the same, about an hour, hour and a half for us to talk and draft the documents. But there's some other things that we do as well. The big one in there is the living will. That's a very serious conversation. I'm lighthearted for this, but when you come behind closed doors, we'll have a frank discussion about the facts and what the benefits are and what the costs are, and we'll get what you need done. So we welcome you. As deployers, you have priority. If you need to get this done before you leave, I will seriously kick out people who already have appointments to make room for you. You're what I want to get done. Next slide. Okay, what to do with your documents. You've heard like 3 times. So the big thing that I'm going to mention is don't make any marks on your legal documents. If you have a will, if you have a power of attorney, and you just want to change a little bit of it, that can invalidate the entire document. And now you have nothing. Now you can make a paper airplane with that. That's about it. So if you want to make changes to your documents, right now, just get new documents. Come on by. Like seriously, powers of attorney are on a walk-in basis. No appointment necessary, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., 13 to 1500. You can come in, get a whole bunch at once. You can come in on a rolling basis. Whatever makes you feel better, you can get done. But don't make marks to your documents because those documents may not be accepted. And broadly speaking, there is no requirement to accept a power of attorney. Just be aware of that. So if you go out in town and you say, I have a general power of attorney, I want to get his car or her car smogged, they can say that's cool, go away. They probably won't because they want your money, but just be aware of that. So what do I recommend? If you're getting a power of attorney and you know who you're going to be interacting with, if you know who your landlord is, which banks you want your agent to be handling, the DMV, ask them if they have their own form. Because they're going to take their form. That's why they have it. It's like the entire point. If it needs to be notarized, we'll notarize that for you. It's part of what we offer. So the big thing there is to think ahead, get the powers of attorney, but if you can grease the skids a little bit more, you might want to make some phone calls as well. Next slide. Life insurance. I can help you do your life insurance if you're giving stuff to kids. If you're not giving anything to that person under the age of 18, whatever you do with admin is totally legit. I don't do it any better. I just can do it as well. Next. Power of attorneys we talked about, there's 2 categories. There's the general and the special. And they're kind of like court martials, where like general can do the most amount of damage to you, and special can do some harm, but it's limited. So the general power of attorney is what everybody wants, and it's the one that DC doesn't want you to get, because it lets somebody do everything in your name. It includes taking out a bunch of leases and breaking them. It includes taking out loans and not paying them. It includes taking out credit cards and letting them go into default. That happens. And for that reason, they tend not to be wanted by DC. My recommendation is that a lot of places out in town don't like general powers of attorney anymore, because enough people like me make phone calls and say, hey, so the sailor's back from deployment and the spouse should not have sold the car or the dog, so can we get both of those back? And they just say, we're not going to deal with general power of attorneys anymore. If you're really supposed to sell the car, show me the special power of attorney that says, sell my car. Show me in writing that you're supposed to have that power. So a special power of attorney is a power of attorney for a specific act, to handle your finances, to maintain your property, to take care of your vehicle. These are all special powers of attorney. And you can get as many of them as you want. But the idea there is that because they're more limited in function, they're more limited in the damage they can do if somebody goes amok with them. Next slide. ID theft. ID theft is a major crime. I'm not going to, like you see the slides and you hear like the commercials about it, but a compatriot of Lieutenant Drew and I went on deployment, and in one port visit, 40 people had their identity stolen. It was in the middle of the Indian Ocean, and when they came back, it took a while for them to realize what had happened. So ID theft happens. And with that, people will take out loans in your name, they don't pay them. That reflects on your credit score, which reflects on your security clearance. You can come in, we can try and do some of the damage, but it's pretty tough. One of the things we recommend is getting what's called an active duty alert placed on there. If you're a service member, you can go to, I don't think you can see that, but it says www.annualcreditreport.com, ANNUALCREDITREPORT.com. I could do it in the NATO alphabet, but it would just take like 30 minutes. So annualcreditreport.com, you can go on there, fill it out. What the active duty alert says, I'm in the military. And if anybody wants to open up any new lines of credit, make sure it's me by having them put forth a lot more documentation. I did it for myself, and I will admit it works, because anytime I want to do anything, I have to like show them 3 forms of ID. But it's to your advantage to do that. If you are the victim of ID theft, One, talk to legal assistance, and two, I mean, talk to the credit bureaus, put a cancel on as many things as possible, but it's a long road to recovery and it takes a lot of effort. So really the idea is try to get ahead of it by putting the alerts on ahead of time and try to manage and watch your finances as much as possible. Next slide. Vehicle storage. Just because your car is not going to be driven doesn't mean you should take insurance off. Bad things happen to cars even when you're not around. In fact, I would say bad things happen to cars more often when you're not around. So don't turn off the insurance. Next slide. Okay, taking care of your property. This goes again with the idea of having renter's insurance and having an agent who can make repairs for you. So if you have a friend who's checking on your apartment, but they don't have a power of attorney to get repairs done, they can call you and say, by the way, there's a leak in your ceiling and it looks like it's doing a lot of damage to your stuff. But they can't really authorize any repair work to be done. So those go hand in hand. If you have somebody who's taking care of yourself, make sure they actually have the authority, not just your permission. So the authority comes from the documentation. Next slide. Tax filing. Taxes are due next year, but there are some benefits to having been out of the area for a while. This is mostly if you're, taxes are due in April. So it's a ways away, but in addition to the combat bonus, if you're in a combat zone, you get an automatic 6 months extension to your taxes. Really the idea is do your taxes, if you can, by April 15th. If you didn't do it, you might be able to get an extension, but an extension just means that there's no penalties. The juice is running. There's still interest accruing on whatever you didn't pay. So it's still in your best interest to pay. Next slide. That's the IRS logo. Next slide. Okay, the SCRA. This one's kind of cool. I don't know if, as far as laws are cool, like this one's kind of cool. So the idea is that this law, the Service Members Civil Relief Act, the SCRA, has a bunch of protections for you. We're going to talk about some of the more common ones. We can talk about the next slide first. Landlord-tenant. Landlord-tenant, on top of one other topic, is the most common thing I see with folks. So what does the SCRA let you do? If you are being deployed for greater than 90 days, you can break your lease under this law. What do you have to do? You have to give them a letter, a written notice that says, I'm breaking my lease because I'm going underway, I'm being deployed. And two, you have to give them a copy of your orders. Now, as sailors, our orders just say a ship. It doesn't say that you're deployed. So you probably have to get a letter from the command that says, yes, he's going to be gone or she's going to be gone for more than 90 days. What happens then? You owe the next month's rent, and you owe 30 days after, if there is rent due. And after that, you're done. So you may owe 1 to 2 more months of rent, but you get to break your lease without any other penalty. That's the main benefit with landlord-tenant. Keep in mind, when you do that, your landlord's going to be less inclined to give you the full security deposit back. And security deposits are one of the big arguments that we have. So if you have issues with your lease, or if you have issues with your security deposit, we recommend you come by and talk to us, and we can help you. We can make phone calls, send angry letters, and try to address things as best as we can for you. Next slide. This is talking about what to do if you're moving out. You should schedule a walkthrough, do the inspections. The big thing to keep in mind is that the landlord is supposed to give you either your full deposit back after 21 days, or whatever of your deposit is left, and an itemized deduction of what they charged you for. If you don't get that, they're breaking the rules. We can go there and talk about it. Just as a service announcement, if your security deposit was like $300 or $400, I'm going to assume that your landlord's just going to keep it. Because the reason why it's so low is they don't think you're going to fight for it. So just keep that in mind. And that's more of a reason to try and get ahead of the game and follow that information. Now, if you get it back, you get it back. That's awesome. Don't get me wrong. I would love that if it happened all the time. It just doesn't happen that often. Next slide. Cell phones. You can temporarily stop your contract. So if you're gone for 10 months, you don't have to pay for your cell phone contract, but it doesn't keep going by. So the idea is if you have 8 months left on your contract, you can't use the SRA to end that, come back and get a new phone. Some places will still let you do it, but more than anything, what you're allowed to do is stop service without accruing any penalties. Next slide. Vehicles. Vehicles are way easier, but there's a longer duration. If you're gone for over 180 days, when we talked about breaking your residential lease, that was 90 days. For your car, it's over 180 days. But if you're leasing a car, you do the exact same thing we talked about before. Written notice and a copy of your orders. And then within 15 days, you turn the vehicle over to the dealership and you're done. That's it. No more payments, you're out of it. It's great. If you need help with that, come by, let us know. Next slide. This one is kind of spookier. The idea here is that if you're out in the middle of the ocean and somebody sues you, it's not fair because you can't go back to court and represent yourself. So there's two options. The main protection here is that there's a stay. And a stay just means timeout. It's a minimum of 90 days, and there's different attorneys that are assigned to it. And essentially we say, you know, so-and-so, Lieutenant Biolo can't show up because he's in the middle of the Indian Ocean. We request time until he comes back. It doesn't make you judgment-proof. It doesn't mean like you can just go out tomorrow, like slam your car down the road and be like, nobody can sue me. You can get sued, it's gonna happen later. So this just gives you a timeout. The other thing that happens if the court wasn't aware or somebody lied and said, Lieutenant Biolo, I don't know why they would write this, but Lieutenant Biolo is not in the military, despite it's just a weird, funny first name. We call him Lieutenant. The idea there is they say, okay, and they enter a judgment against me and I wasn't there to defend myself, we can get that vacated and undone. So those are the two main protections. If you're not around, we can put a timeout in the procedure, in the proceeding, and if something did happen, a judgment was levied, we can get that vacated. This is purely civil. So this is like I have a tree in my backyard and it fell over and damaged my neighbor's property. It's not for criminal things. Again, this whole idea is if you got an issue with the state of California, that's between you and the state of California, and I wish you the best of luck. Next slide. There's additional benefits, which I can't read. You can also stay evictions, which is kind of nice, but the issue that happens with staying evictions, I think this is where people get confused. I talked about breaking your lease. If you have bills over deployment, you should definitely pay your bills. Like, there's no question about that. People come, and it's, I kind of laugh, but not really. People come and say, I didn't pay my bills for the last 6 months and now I'm being evicted. You owe that money. Now, they can't evict you while you're away. That's the protection. You can't come back and find out that they took everything out and your stuff was sold. But there can still be a process. So if you want to break your leases, go through the process that we talked about. Send a written notice and a copy of your orders. If you have questions about that, make an appointment. But definitely pay your bills. But the idea here is if you can't get evicted, if you can't have your car sold, for instance, there can't be these enforcement of liens while you're away, because that stuff is permanent. That damage, you're not going to get that car back. So those are your protections. Next slide. Family support. Already talked about that before. You've heard that many times. But the big thing is to keep in mind, if you're a dependent with a military ID, you can come in and see us just as much as the active duty service member, as long as there's no conflict of interest. So I'll be standing by to answer questions, but I can form attorney-client relationships. It's a great blessing, it's a great burden, because I carry with me the pain and the conflict of every client that's come before me that I've actually had. So if you're opposed, I can't talk to you. That's a big thing to keep in mind. I can answer general questions, I can't answer any factual specific questions, but spouses, dependents, something happens while the service member is out deployed, you can still come by and talk to us about these issues. Next slide. If you're not in the area, this is how to find us. But essentially, just Google legal assistance, and type in your zip code. But the two nearest ones, I'll tell you right now, are me, which is like a stone's throw away, and 32nd Street. Next slide. Oh, I think we're done. Please tell me we're done. Do I have any? If there are any questions, I'll be tucked away over here in the khakis. You can ask me broad questions. If anything I said sounds interesting, you want to make an appointment, please do. Other than that, have a great and safe deployment.
So a lot of people don't know what the FRG is. It's basically we're the fun group to bring the families together. We don't really have like a definition of what family is. It could be boyfriends, girlfriends, dads, mothers, whatever. But your sailors are only as strong as you are, so if we unify while they're gone, then we can be strong for them and hopefully have fun and make the deployment fly a little faster. We don't have any information. We won't give you information. That's from the Ombudsman. So just follow us on Facebook. We have an event coming up at the end of August, and it'll be a potluck, and we'll get to know each other. And that's pretty much it. That's all.
Who are you?
We're the FRG. I'm Katie DeMayo. I'm the president. That's Becky Hull. She's the treasurer. Megan Rund is the secretary. And Brian, he's our vice president, so, yeah. We're working on our website right now. Most of our information's on Facebook, but we'll be updating our website as it comes. We'll be doing monthly meetings the first Saturday of the month. So if you look out for it, we'll tell you when and where. Other than that, we'll just be doing that. We don't plan on doing a halfway day. We're hoping to do 2 events because the deployment's really, really long. So we'll look for inputs at our meetings, and yeah, I'm horrible at public speaking in case you can't tell. Oh, if you want to look for our information, we have pages over there that have our website and our Facebook page. But if you don't want one of the papers, then our Facebook page is Vinson FRG, all one word. And on there we have our gear for sale and all of our information about our events and stuff. So.
Folks, our family readiness group. Thank you.